show where I dress up as Batman and I prank phone call people and I give advice.
Exactly what Batman would do.
I assume so.
Hey guys, my name is this on?
Yeah.
My name is Dan Dobi. I run a show or channel called Dan Dobi. I have several shows on my channel. One is a prank calling show. One is Dunkin' Rocks. One is just a vlog thing that I do. And what are the other ones that I do? Well, that's the prank calling one. And then yeah, that's what I do. I do a few shows on my channel.
Hello, my name is Joe, and I have a channel called Mystery Guitar Man.
Okay, so since we're talking about keeping, an audience when you're diversifying your content, I think I really want to open with you, Jonny, because you, I think people would know you as, it's a good idea to microwave this, but you branched out and you do movie night, you do, so many other different things. At what point did you decide that you wanted to start branching out, and, was it strategic? Because I think most people on YouTube, when they find, they do something well, they don't want to deviate from it. What made you want to begin to deviate from it and figure that whole situation out?
Yes, I'll try to take that point by point. I started on YouTube in April of 2006. I've been doing video since 2001 though, and that's when it started, but I didn't want to do one thing. When I got involved early on in video, I fell in love with so many different aspects of it, and when I started becoming successful on YouTube, I was really worried about being pigeonholed as the microwave guys. So I was conscious of that, and I made sure early to also produce other shows like Movie Night, Roller Coaster Commotion, and we started doing more comedy sketches. We launched our own second channels, and we started doing vlogs and game commentaries and things like that. So early on, I was aware that I don't want to just do one show. That is probably, from a strategy standpoint, probably your best bet early is to build an audience with one show and keep it consistent. But that's not any fun for me. So I was like, first and foremost, I was looking out for myself early. I just wanted to have fun and make sure that I didn't get bored of my own content and I didn't get sick of doing what I love. Because when you stop having fun doing this, it's not worth it anymore. So as long as I was having fun, I was just glad that my audience was able to stick around with me.
Right. And so how many different channels do you run, I guess?
Technically, I think the number is 8 in my network, but realistically, I only really manage 2 or 3 of them.
Okay.
Jory has 1 or 2 himself. Our other friend Riley, I think, is still sleeping right now. He has another channel for himself.
Shame, Riley.
So
shame.
I kind of run the whole network and oversee that, but I personally only do about 2 channels, and I like to keep that small. I would only do 1 if I could, but too many people are like, this shit, put it on the other channel. And so I like to branch it out a little bit so I can have 2 separate audiences.
I think you begin a point there that I want to follow up with Dan, because Dan, you have a channel where you have a lot of different content that lives on it. Do you ever feel like you want to branch your different shows off on other channels? Are you happy with all of your different shows living on your main channel? What is your opinion for second channels versus keeping everything on the main channel?
That's a great question. It's something that I think about all the time, and it's totally a catch-22. And I have, like I said before, 5 shows on my channel. I'd love to do that, but right now for me, it's tough. I mean, everyone thinks, oh yeah, putting up a YouTube video is simple, but it's really not. It is a job, and even when you're just sitting and waiting for it to upload, it's like just waiting for it to upload and then put up a new thumbnail and then add all the tags and stuff. It's a job, and it takes up a lot of time. I would love to do that and kind of separate it, because if another show that kind of pops up that people aren't used to, they kind of get upset. The internet gets upset if you change something.
And they let you hear about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know the right answer to that. Right now I'm just kind of putting it all on one thing, and I hear about it, and it's weird because the negative comments kind of, when you get them, they kind of stick out a little bit more, but I try not to let it bother me and just kind of take a deep breath and be like, it's okay. I'm just going to keep uploading on one channel. But it's working out, but I don't know the right answer to that. But, yeah.
Mr. Otarman, do you have an answer for that? Because I mean, you've been doing YouTube for a long time and you have your own second channel. At what point do you think people should start a second channel? Because I feel like a lot of people have second channels that they don't even utilize. And you know, at what level, I guess, of viewership or audience do you have where you start branching off, or are you happy keeping everything on a main channel?
Right. It's tough to start a second channel because it takes a really, really long time and a lot of effort to build up an audience for your main channel. And then you're going to be dividing your time between two different things. I think that it is a smart idea to go into a second channel with one offshoot idea that's doing really, really well. For example,
Just a little feedback. Just a little hello. Just a little feedback.
So I think that the Annoying Orange was a smart second channel. I think that ERB, the Epic Rap Battles, was a smart second channel. And also, you want to make sure that you have a second channel if you've just grown your main channel audience. And you want to do things like behind the scenes, or you want to do just vlogs that aren't something that you want to try to do, but isn't what your entire audience isn't. That they don't need to see that. For example, not everyone. You'll be surprised to know that not everyone wants to know what I'm doing every second of my life. So,
really?
Yes,
There's someone out there that doesn't want to stalk you.
Exactly. It's weird.
We learned something today.
So I started putting up my vlogs on my second channel, and not everyone cares how I made a video, so I put up my behind the scenes on my second channel. So I think that keeping your main content to one channel is smart, right? And then if you have one offshoot idea that takes off really well, then create a second channel for that.
Very cool. Mike, I want to let you get in on this as well. How do you decide to start doing something different? Because I mean, you did covers for a long time, and then you started, experimenting with different things. And when an audience is set on one thing, how do you try and convince them that this other thing you're doing is cool too?
I think doing other stuff kind of just comes out of what you were saying, just like getting bored and not wanting to get bored. And I was doing covers and I was kind of getting bored with it. It's a challenge to find a song every week. And there's friends of mine like Megan Todd just does it really well, and then friends like me who kind of have ADD and really don't want to do it anymore. And then it's hard. It's a scary thing because you don't know how people are going to react. Like one day I found a Batman mask in my upstairs closet and I had no recollection of buying it. So I was like, okay, I just did a Say Anything cover yesterday, and now I'm going to put up a sex advice video as Batman. So we'll see how this kind of works out. But I think a lot of things, something that really helped me pretty much the whole time was being engaged with my entire audience every step of the way. Like, I try really hard to answer every single comment, so you kind of always know what they're thinking, so you're going to know exactly how many people you're going to alienate, which is a good number.
Be aware of that number. We had made every joke possible 6 times by the time and we had had this discussion seriously many times over the life of the show, like, at what point do we need to wrap this thing up? Like, we've already kind of beaten the dead horse and jumped the shark a few years ago. So at what point, and then we were kind of thinking, we knew it to ourselves, we're like, when is the audience going to notice that this is all the same crap they've seen? So as we were approaching that, it's like, let's just get to 300, a nice round number, and then call it a day, big finish, and then we'll just close the door and then move to something else.
Cool. Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good point, but Joe, I think I want to come to you on this next thing. How do you keep your content so fresh week after week? Because I mean, you've been doing YouTube for a long time and making the same, style of video. How do you make sure that you're tweaking something, adding something, maybe taking something away? How do you constantly keep innovating, kind of the same brand?
Right. It's a lot of what they said. It's half about listening to your audience and half about your own intuitions. The first stop motion video that I ever did was called Guitar Impossible. And
was how long ago?
Was in YouTube years, around 20 years ago. So as soon as that came out, all the people who were subscribed to my channel, who was around 25,000 people back then, were like, "What is this? This is a copy of this video, and don't ever do stop motion ever again."
I think there's a lot of people glad that you did not listen to that.
Yeah. Or like when I started making looping videos, all the people that had found me through the stop motion were like, "What is this? Go back to making your stop motion videos." And then I started, doing like longer form content, and they're like, "Go back to shorter form content." So like whatever you do, and like now whenever I put up a stop motion video, people are like, "Go back to looping videos," and then I put up a looping video, and people are like,
whatever you give them, they want the opposite.
"Yeah, exactly." It's
Or at least
because
some part of them do.
2.5 million people is a lot of people to make happen.
I think it's important. I think it's important when you're listening to your audience, pay more attention to the people who are reaching out to you, not on YouTube, but on like Twitter, because those are the more loyal people who are trying to find you. Well, they'll find you off of YouTube and try and engage in dialogue that way. On YouTube, you will get a lot of first, and if you listen to those comments, you find that it doesn't relate to your videos at all.
Right.
So the people who are reaching out to you on Twitter, I put more weight in their suggestions.
Yeah.
Facebook as well, but after the recent changes on Facebook. But, I think that's an important point to bring up is find the audience that has your best.
The diehards, the core audience, those are usually
The ones who will stick with you, and even if you put out a bad video, they will say, "Well, that was a bad video, you shouldn't do that. Go back to this." Those are the ones who I listen to more.
Okay.
For more weight.
Yeah, that's a lot of it too, knowing when you've made a mistake. Because like a lot of the times, within the first like 50 comments, someone's like, "Oh, this should have been titled this." And I'm like, "Oh, you're right, it should have been titled I can change it.
Your annotation doesn't link to anything.
that's a good point. I find more spelling mistakes in my own videos through the first 50 comments than I ever did with spell check.
Yeah, so I think it's a lot of your own intuition too. So like, knowing what to do next is always tough. But as long as people on YouTube are being involved, so for me, I do a lot of things where I'm like, "Send me a picture of yourself doing this," and then I put it all into a big mosaic. Or, trace this image, or go hide this sticker somewhere in your town. As long as you're involved in it, because that's what is fun about YouTube, right? Because you can't go up to, I don't know, like, what's your favorite TV show? House? And, Hugh Laurie, could you do this differently? He would have just been like, "No."
He doesn't even have the control over that kind of thing. He's just the actor.
Exactly, yes.
I was wondering if you found that your audience gets used to the different numbers of all your different shows and perhaps learns to skip the ones they are not into, or do you find that you lose subscribers every time you upload the shows that aren't as popular?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't want to admit this, but every time I put up a video, I look at the subscriber account, and I can tell that now that YouTube makes it a lot easier to unsubscribe from channels. I do see a loss in it, but it's not really inhibiting me to because for me it's not a subscriber game. It's just keeping yourself happy, and it is a subscriber game. But for me, I don't mind. I see like the subscribers lower every time I put out like a video that's not a Duncan Rocks video, and I just say that's okay. If people want to unsubscribe because of a certain video, or if it's too much, if I'm giving them too much, which I really don't. I try to upload like once a week, and with Duncan Rocks, it's definitely hard to do that just because my schedule and Duncan's schedule, but. I do. It doesn't inhibit me from uploading other content on the channel, but I do see a loss in subscribers, and it's a risk having several different shows on a channel. So yeah, did I answer that correctly, or okay? Cool.
If I can add quickly to that too, we've seen a lot of that because we have a few different shows on the main channel, and if it's not the microwave show, some people subscribe, and it's rare that they'll unsubscribe for the microwave show, but that happens as well because we have separate audiences, and one core audience likes everything. So I try to promote as often as I can and remind people that you actually have the option to subscribe individually to playlists or shows. You don't have to subscribe to the whole channel. You can subscribe to just Duncan Rocks if you wanted to. So I try to promote that option if possible whenever I can and remind people like, hey, it's cool they don't like my other 8 shows. If you want, you can just subscribe to this one and then everybody wins. And you only see one thing in your newsfeed, and you don't have to bitch and complain when I decide to do a Hunger Games movie review next week. So it's
But it has to be a show, right? You have to.
you can do that with playlists as well. You can subscribe to a playlist, and anytime you upload a new video, add to playlist, it'll get on their home feed that way.
That's why it's so important to just concentrate on making good stuff. Like whether anybody is watching it right now, you know, doesn't necessarily translate to who's going to be watching it like a month from now. Just keep putting out awesome stuff and stuff that you know is awesome, and people are going to find it. Get out of here.
But yeah, so I hate to do this, but we would